The sad reality is we do need to deal with terrorist attacks here on American soil, and so having a plan in place and knowing what to do in that moment is very important. Hi everyone, this is John with today's active self-protection lesson. Today's lesson comes to us from Istanbul, Turkey, and it is the recent terrorist attack on the airport there. We're going to see how this one all goes down, about the continuing threat that a terrorist can present even after they have been shot and immobilized by the police. We're going to learn some important lessons here about situational awareness, about how to protect ourselves in sterile areas, and what to look for in protecting ourselves and our loved ones in these kind of situations. The video we have here is that the attack is already in progress, and you see one of the terrorists come around the corner here, and he actually gets ambushed right there by a security guard who was inside. I'm not sure if he was police or what, but as he's taken down, you saw the gun skitter off, and now that officer is going to come and look at him and decide in the moment that he is not going to stay in the vicinity, and he starts running off. Now, you're going to see a little bit of a wait here. In fact, it's about a 12-second wait as this terrorist is going to continue to futz with whatever's on him that we now know is a bomb. And he blows himself up there, and you can just see him. He's totally immolated. We have a second view of it here as people start flowing away because obviously that guy's told him that bad things are coming, that there's a terrorist with a bomb on him. And now we're going to see the bomb go off from that angle. And finally, we have one more angle here as people are going to start streaming away because there's a problem. Now, you don't know how long you have until the bomb goes off when everything starts going bad, and it goes off there. And now we got to think about what happens afterwards, because here we start seeing people who were closer to the detonation, we start having injuries. And now you got to start to see the smoke come in and visibility is gone and people are running around left and right. And now you got to figure out what to do with the injured and how to get to safety from there. And thankfully these people all band together to get that person out of there. Do you want to back up now and learn some lessons from this one that might be able to help us? The first one is this guy comes around is that a counter ambush was effective here. You see him take a couple of shots, at least one shot, and you see his gun skitter off him here because that guy counter ambushed him. Sometimes, especially if you're in a place where you have tools like, this officer did, counter ambushing a bad guy might be the best way to do things. Now then, though, you got to make sure that threat is over. So the officer then drives in to start to see what that threat is, and he's going to assess whether or not it's a continuing threat. And stopping here, you got to think about, wait a minute, this is why we talk about headshots, that this is an instance when we know we have a terrorist incident, that a face shot here, what they would call an anchoring shot, what my Marine friends would call a dead check, is what you would drive in and just make sure that the threat is 100% over. This wasn't, wouldn't be what you do against an armed robber or something like that, but against somebody who might have a bomb on him, you would. He decides to run off. I'm not sure why he did, but we're just going to say he did. You have 12 seconds. Now, you got to recognize that there is a reason that you have some time, and you got to use that time. You got to get at least 15 feet away from him, because otherwise you're going to get caught in the overpressure. I've put an incredible link in the description for getting caught in the overpressure and dying from just the blast. But you got to worry about more than the blast. You got to worry about the shrapnel from the blast as well. And I had somebody ask me about whether or not they should dive on that and save everybody else. He's got about 25 pounds of explosive on him. This isn't like a grenade that's 6 ounces of explosive. Diving on him wouldn't save a soul. It wouldn't do anything. So just get out of there and try to get as far away as you can. That's what we see here in that second one. Your best bet, if you have any notice at all, is to get as far away from the threat as you possibly can, as these people are going to try to. And now when the explosion goes off, you got to really start thinking about your follow-up actions. You got to think about where are the secondary actors? Where are the trailing accomplices? Where are the additional bombs that might be planted, or the additional people to cause more injuries? Now, as these people go, the other thing that you got to really think about is when you're running away from the threat, don't just run away and look back to see where the threat is. You know it's coming from that way. Look ahead of you to see if there are any additional threats in the place that you are going. You got to continue to stay aware, as difficult as that can be. Now, once the bomb goes off, if you made it through the initial blast, now you got to start thinking about your follow-up actions, because you notice that the smoke starts to come into the room and the disorientation is humongous, and you start to see just the chaotic nature of this scene. You got to get yourself and your loved ones into a safe place if you can, and the people who are closer to the blast are far more likely to be injured. This is why we tell you to have trauma first aid skills, to keep your first aid kit on you if you possibly can. I keep my first aid kit on me even in the airport. It goes through security, no problem whatsoever. And you got to decide, okay, who am I going to save here and what am I going to do to get my family to safety after you have assessed whether there are any additional threats. These are the kind of things that we have to think about in America and in everywhere today to be safe wherever we are, to be ready for a terrorist attack to cover our asp.